Welcome one and all, I'm Decoy, back with some more cool and unique camp locations for you. Starting off in the forest this week with a bit of a simplistic cultist location. If you do camp here, you're going to need to know that 3 cultists will spawn here. So you're going to have to deal with that. But hey, that is 3 dead bodies that you get to loot, and then there's an additional dead body. So basically that's like 4 things that you get to loot at this spot. There's also a little Mothman totem. I know, not the most amazing thing, but hey, it is here. Now, I do need to note that from time to time I have seen a Mothman spawn here, which is pretty darn cool. But as for cool and unique camp locations go, just north of here there is a different cool and unique camp location that has quite a bit more going for it. As for like the location itself, it's somewhat decent. While it is going to push you off onto the far left side of the map, it is pretty darn close to Billings Homestead. So if you're someone that constantly runs and farms razor grain, there is a massive surplus of razor grain at Billings. Now on to Toxic Valley. And this spot is pretty darn cool, because you're going to get a ghoul chilling at your camp. Not only that, it is a named ghoul that when you talk to her, she actually has some nice little dialogue options. I'm not going to go into how that all works. Let that be a surprise. But I would suggest, even if you don't camp here, you should still swing by and have a little chat. There is a fair amount of junk here that you can pick up. A sleeping bag, you know, in case you're just in the mood to catch a disease. I mean, because why not? But again, plenty of junk. You're going to have an awesome ghoul that spawns. So if you're camping here and you have a ghoul, an ally, a pet, your camp is really going to feel lived in. Another thing to note is there is a can of coffee. I know some people might not appreciate that, but coffee is awesome. And you can never have too much of it. Well, I don't know. Maybe. If Futurama and Fry taught me anything, it's that if you have a lot of coffee, you get superpowers. As for its location, pretty solid, keeping you fairly well centered in Toxic Valley, so you're not a horribly long distance from anything, except for the bottom part of the map. Now on to the Ash Heap, to a spot that I realize not many of you are going to want to camp at, but it's just kind of an entertaining location that really does deserve to be shared. So when you come here, you'll see a scarecrow with a machete. And you're like, okay. But the real part that wins is the little pumpkin going, because he's about to get murdered. Yeah, that scarecrow's about to make some pumpkin pie. Now, as for anything else going on in this spot, pretty much nothing. You can loot the machete, but that would really take away from this. On the off chance that you do want to camp here, you do need to know that you have to move your camp placement away from it to be able to camp at the location. I highly doubt very many of you are going to do that. I would far more imagine that someone's going to want to swing by and maybe take a screenshot or something like that. As for its location, not too good, because you are somewhat close to a fisher site, and yeah, no one's a fan of being super close to a fisher site. Now on to the Savage Divide, and a spot that is kinda depressing. I realize this spot looks amazing to anybody that hopped in at Wastelanders. I mean, hey, there's a settler here, you got a tent, campfire, has quite a bit going for it. But this spot used to be one of the nicest pieces of flatland that we had to build at. And yeah, with the addition of this tent and all this other stuff, it took up a large amount of that flat building space. It's kind of depressing, but I will give a little bit of props to the fact that it does have a decent amount going for it. I mean, there's a can of pork and beans here. There's a couple containers to loot. You get a free cooking station, a teddy bear, and a settler. But again, there's always that chance that it's going to be an enemy and not a settler. And I mean, that is a pretty darn big tent that you have to work with, and you do have some flat land that you can still play with, just not nearly as much as we used to have. I'm going to be honest, if they ever took that tent out, I would be completely fine with it. That flat real estate was far more valuable than that tent. But if you do want to camp here, location-wise, it is going to put you way further up in Savage Divide than most people would like. Now let's go to the Meijer, where we're back at a cultist spot. And I am a little bit jealous of some of these items here. Again, this is a cultist spot, so 3 cultists will spawn here. I haven't seen a Mothman spawn here yet, but I'm not putting that out of the realm of possibility. I mean, they are cultists. You do get the cool little totem back there, but what I'm really digging is the little, what are we going to call this? Little offering spot. I really want that little offering tray to put at my camp. And be real, I don't know if Bethesda watches any of my videos, but we need more stuff like that. We need some more gory camp items. Alright, we don't really have any gory camp items. I realize we will eventually have a big old meat pile, but I don't think that's enough. We need a lot of gory stuff. Now, if you do want to camp here, it is going to keep you a little bit better centered when it comes to the Meijer. Overall, not horrible. I mean, it'd be far more useful if the purveyor was still out in the Meijer, but still, not horrible. Now, to the Cranberry Bog. And I'm not a huge fan of Cranberry, but I am digging the look of this cultist location. That being said, hey, guess what's here? 3 cultists. Who would have thunk it? This spot, much like the Meijer, I haven't seen a Mothman spawn here, but hey, I'm going to say it's a pretty good chance that there's always the possibility of that happening. But as for the look of the place, pretty darn cool. Really wish the Mothman cultists wouldn't spawn here, but hey, better them than a Scorch Beast. Then again, you are in Cranberry Bog, so there's no telling if one of them is just going to stray over and come check out what you're doing. Overall, pretty cool spot. I don't know how many people are going to want to camp here, but it is what it is. I do need to give props real quick to Sonny Lowell, because within like the first couple days of Wastelanders being out, shot me a message basically showing me this location. And I'm pretty stoked, but sadly, out of all my running around Cranberry, that seems to be about the coolest spot they added in Cranberry thus far. Now that is going to wrap this one up, but don't worry, I'll be back with some more cool and unique camp locations before you know it. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please remember to like, sub, and share. Later.